Leo wants to believe. Sorry, hold on.
I want to believe.
Baby, Columbus, Ohio, what is good? Woo! It is a delight to be back here in your lovely city, in your lovely state. Who was here when I came here like 4 years ago for a Potterless show? All right, we got some folks. Who here is here for the first time at one of my shows? Okay. Very exciting. I am very excited to be here. I'm very excited to cover the very fun chapters that we have to cover, and I'm very excited to do it with tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is someone that you may have heard on this podcast. It's someone that you may have heard on our new podcast that we co-created, The Last and the Curious, where we're going through my first ever journey through the Fast and the Furious movies. And his multiple-time journey, because he's a huge fan, so you can listen to that right now. It's on the TNO Patreon shop. But make some noise for your guest tonight, Ohio's own Eric Hamilton Schneider!
Why did your tongue get over there?
Oh, my hairbrush, I had it in my hand, and then it flew out, and I got all hyped. Yeah.
I'm so excited to be back in the Midwest, which on this tour we learned does not include Ohio, apparently, according to a lot of people. But we know we are part of the Midwest. And that's what matters.
It has been differing results.
Yeah.
Minnesota, decidedly no. They said Ohio is not in the Midwest.
I wasn't there for that one, so I couldn't defend us, unfortunately.
Milwaukee, what was your read? It felt like 75-25 in favor of no.
Yeah, I would say that's about right. Yeah, maybe 60-40, but definitely majority no.
Des Moines felt more like 50-50.
Yes.
So like as we worked
Which
over...
was weird, though, because that's the furthest
other
west
direction,
we went. Yeah.
And then Chicago, how did Chicago
feel? Mostly...
They said yeah.
They're like, yeah, that makes sense. I think it's anyone west of Chicago is like, I don't know about those East Siders. And I think the reason, this is my theory that I've come up with over the last few days, is that because the idea of like the Midwest accent, specifically on like TikTok and Instagram, is like the like St. Paul, Minnesota, oh, good to know ya. I think that because that has like the internet has accepted that as the Midwest accent, they are like the arbiters of the Midwest, and we're too far away from them. And you know that, but we know. I say anything in the Rust Belt is the Midwest, and then the Midwest goes a little further.
I say anyone who wants to be in the Midwest is in the Midwest, because it feels like there's a lot of states that want to be and are or aren't.
Eventually, Ohio will consume all.
Oh, okay.
Always has been.
Well, then there's the question of like, you've brought up Pittsburgh as sometimes being in the Midwest. Ooh. New contention has entered.
I'm from Cleveland, and I think Pittsburgh's a little bit of the Midwest. Pittsburgh's way more close to the Midwest than it is to like Philadelphia in terms of vibes.
That's the other thing. Is it should we be doing it vibes based and not state lines based?
Yeah.
It feels like vibes are important. But what actually is important is to talk about Percy Jackson at the Percy Jackson live show.
It is.
We are here as we continue the third book in the Heroes of Olympus series. We're going to be continuing our coverage of Mark of Athena as we do chapters 5 and 6, which are fun and interesting, and there's a whole lot to get into. So I think we should get into it.
Let's do it.
So chapter 5 begins, and it's a Leo chapter. It opens, but let's actually real quick say what happened last time. Now, what happened last time was our good friend Leo may or may not have opened fire on all of his friends or potential future friends in New Rome, and wasn't so good. But our 7 heroes got onto the warship and whooshed away successfully.
Looking like old Rome now.
Yeah, not
a lot of ruins, apparently.
And we had the situation where Leo seemed like he was possessed by some sort of other being, not like he wasn't in control of himself when Percy tackled him to the ground. So now we get into chapter 5, which opens with, quote, Leo wishes he could invent a time machine. He'd go back 2 hours and undo what had happened. Either that, or he could invent a slap Leo in the face machine to punish himself, though he doubted it would hurt as badly as the look Annabeth was giving him. as someone who I responded very well in terms of it hurt me to my core whenever my dad gave me the "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" look. Yeah, I can understand Leo's feelings here because just the like, oh no, I've let him down is way worse to me. Like that's the strongest pain is disappointing my father or mother. If my mom gave me the cold shoulder, I'd feel just as bad.
Yeah. And then also like a peer though, that's also, I mean, like definitely the parents have that up top part, but like even your friends being like, I'm disappointed in you. It's like, ooh,
yeah.
You've had the same life experience amount as I do and you're disappointed. That's no good.
So I am at this point very curious. Okay, yeah, what did happen? What is going on with Leo? So Annabeth asks Leo to once again explain exactly what happened. And Leo's head still hurts from the Percy Jackson tackle, and he's feeling awful not only outside, but inside as well, because his ship is in shambles. There's flaming crossbows. The foresail is all tattered. The internet satellite array has been blown to bits, which makes Coach Hedge especially mad. And I'm thinking at this point that it had to have been because he was watching something, not that Coach Hedge was a big fan of technology. It feels like there was a sporting match involved, and we will see that that does in fact come up.
Yeah.
Festus at the masthead is coughing up smoke like he has a fire-related hairball. The aerial oars have been either knocked off or they're all out of line. The engine is wheezing, quote, like an asthmatic steam train. And Leo fights back some tears, which, you know, Leo is someone who always was more of the goofy comic relief character, but he did still show his signs of emotions. But as the narrator in these chapters, it's very interesting. Just it's a different side of Leo, and, you know, he's gutted. I feel bad for him. He's so upset about it. But he fights back tears, and he says that he's not sure about exactly what happened. He says it's all fuzzy.
Asthmatic Steam Train is my favorite Thomas the Tank Engine character.
Yes. That is a good one.
Probably Diesel.
I'm trying to think of which of the characters that would be. Was that maybe...
Not the Christmas train with no face.
I was going to say Percy was my thought, because he's always like grumpy and angry, so...
Yeah.
But I don't know if any of them are steam powered. Anyway, deep in the Thomas lore. Leo is uncomfortable with how many people are looking at him. The people looking at him include Annabeth. He doesn't like making her angry because he's afraid of her and afraid that she might, you know, hit him. He's afraid of Hedge because Hedge always carries around his baseball bat, and that is just intimidating in general. And also Frank, who's a new guy, so he's unreally sure what to make of him, and it's just uncomfortable for someone that you don't really know well looking at you, kind of puts him off.
Also, he was just a dragon.
That is true. Frank was recently.
I also wouldn't know how to deal with that.
Just a dragon. Yeah.
Like quite recently a dragon.
Very, very recently. Narrator Leo describes Frank as looking like a baby sumo wrestler, which continues to add to every narrator that isn't Frank putting Frank on blast for looking young and old and cuddly and strong at the same time.
Now, do you think it's a baby that looks like a sumo wrestler or a sumo wrestler that looks like a baby?
I would think baby dressed up in sumo wrestler garb.
Okay.
So take a baby, put them in the headband. I guess the bottom clothes situation looks similar enough. You don't have to change too much that's going on there.
Yeah.
Leo recognizes his memory is hazy and that he was half conscious at the time that everything went down, but he was pretty sure that a dragon landed on the ship and then that dragon turned into Frank. Annabeth crosses her arms and asks if he really doesn't remember what happened, and he says that he does remember, but it felt like he was watching himself do stuff against his will. And that is a particular type of body horror that I would not enjoy. I would hate, like, just the not being able to control your own thing. And then also, like, one of my big fears in general is just, like, identity theft of sorts. Like, obviously, I don't think there's a magical world in which someone would take over my body, but it's a big reason why I hate AI. Amongst the dozens of reasons to hate it is because there are hours and hours and days of audio of me on the internet publicly available. I am terrified that one day some internet something will just, like, download it all and make it sound like I said something that I didn't say. Ugh.
Now, what do you think about regular identity theft? Because I did take your social security card out of your wallet backstage.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm carrying it around. I'm asking for it. Yeah.
Great.
But that kind of stuff, just the misattributing of something he didn't do to him. Like all of the Romans thinking he's this evil, terrible person.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I'm just like, oh no, the worst. Ugh.
Yeah.
Hate it.
That's definitely, I wouldn't say I have a fear of it, but I definitely don't want it to happen.
Sure. Valid.
Yeah.
Coach Hedge taps his bat on the deck. He's wearing gym clothes and a cap over his horn. He basically is back in his wilderness school attire when he was undercover as a normal teacher in the beginning of The Lost Hero, he looks very upset. Coach Hedge says, quote, "Look, kid, you blew up some stuff. You attacked some Romans. Awesome. Excellent. But did you have to knock out the satellite channels? I was right in the middle of watching a cage match." And that tracks.
That makes a lot of sense. I did forget to look up if it was like, the timing on these books is hard, but I was like, I wonder if I could pinpoint what WWE cage match, or it could have been an MMA match.
Yes,
so I don't know. They
mentioned
mentioned
something
MMA
about
previously,
MMA.
yeah, but it would be very funny to know, like, oh yeah, he was watching like Edge versus The Undertaker in 2012 at Hell in a Cell or something. That would be hilarious if you could really pinpoint.
Well, let's just say the book Mark of Athena did release October 2nd, 2012.
Yeah.
So
could be.
I don't know. You would know far better than me. Yeah. My wrestling knowledge, I know a little bit of things that are currently going on. I was very well versed in the HOODSLAM lore in Oakland because I used to go to that every month.
Those were good, I heard.
Those are great. Oh, if you ever find your way to Oakland, you got to go to HOODSLAM. It rocks. It's the best. It's like amateur/semi-pro wrestling in a warehouse. It rips. It's so good. One of the wrestlers is this guy, Drugs Bunny. He dresses up like a 1920s gangster and does cocaine before he wrestles, but he just puts powdered sugar on the post in the corner and then like blows it all out. Oh, it's the best.
That's phenomenal.
So
That's a phenomenal bit.
So good. I used to do their vines. Remember Vine? Yeah. Annabeth suggests that Hedge go ensure that all of the fires are out. He says that he already did that, and Annabeth says, do it again. He grumbles off, but even he wouldn't dare push back against Annabeth. He fully knows she ranks higher than me. Leo lets us know that he doesn't have a thing for Annabeth, and I felt a little like, okay, cool, thanks, Leo. He's like, oh yeah, her hair was blowing in the wind, but Leo didn't think that was hot or anything. He thinks blondes are too smart and too dangerous. I never, even as a child, when it was more popular to be like, blondes are dumb, like, I never understood that. Just because, like, as a kid, I was like, why does hair color mean anything? I just never got it, never understood it. Maybe I was too young to, like, understand the hatching of that societal acceptance.
I don't know, but I feel like it probably comes from like Marilyn Monroe, who was also not a dumb person by any means, but I feel like there became like this kind of like the starlet from the 50s and 60s, and it just kind of bled into pop culture somehow. But yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some like internet thing I could deep dive and figure out like what led us to that point. Maybe something like you're saying, like more actresses, they just hired more blonde people, and then maybe it was people that they viewed as not as intelligent and blah, blah, blah. But whatever, it's weird. And Leo going out of his way to say this, I was like, all right, thanks, man. Cool. So Annabeth asks if Octavian tricked him at all. And I would love if that was the answer, because I don't like Octavian.
Who does?
No one. It would be such a red flag if you asked someone who's your favorite character in Heroes of Olympus, and they were like, I like Octavian a whole lot.
I like the guy that tears up teddy bears. What?
I love that guy who just is the worst vibes imaginable of any person ever. I like that guy who tries to abuse his position of power. Yeah, I love him.
Fun,
so good.
Fun.
And my favorite Harry Potter character is Umbridge. So, Leo fully recognizes that he could just lie and blame everything on Octavian, but he decides against it. And he says, that guy was a jerk, but he didn't fire on the camp. I did. Very big of Leo to do this, as much as I would also love for him to just throw Octavian under the bus. Frank asks on purpose, and Leo screams, no, and he shuts his eyes rapidly, but then has to say, well, yes, I mean, I didn't want to, but at the same time, I felt like I wanted to. Something was making me do it. There was this cold feeling inside me. And then Annabeth's tone abruptly changes to one that is more fearful, and she repeats, a cold feeling, because she has been feeling it a lot as well, as we all saw when she's been narrating the past couple of chapters. Leo confirms that it was a cold feeling. He asks why, and then Percy from below deck yells up to Annabeth saying that they need her help. Leo instantly becomes very worried about Jason, realizing, oh, he's below deck. If they need help, maybe things aren't going so well. Apparently, according to narrator Leo, Piper took Jason below deck the second that they boarded the ship. And narrator Leo says that the gash that was on Jason's head from getting hit in the head with a brick was pretty rough, as one would assume. Leo,
those are big Roman bricks, dude.
Oh, or those are bigger than regular bricks. Yeah, maybe they're like it could be like a big marble brick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
It's an aqueduct brick.
Ow. Who threw it? I gotta find out who threw the brick.
Yeah, they should go on the quest. They're strong.
I didn't think of it from that angle, but that's interesting. Mine was more of like, they're throwing stones at these people that they don't like because they're upset, even though Jason was their praetor. But who like picked up a huge brick and was like, I hate hate this guy who I used to love until 5 minutes ago.
Because it does start by saying, like, they threw, like, plates at food.
Right.
And then one person's like, I got a brick. It's like, I think this is too far.
Speaking of bricks, isn't the guy who brings a trident, isn't that Brick in Anchorman? Isn't that his name? Who's Steve Carell's character in Anchorman?
Yeah,
Brick, hey, here we go.
Oh,
he ramps it up too intensely.
He's a big
like,
Percy Jackson fan.
He's like got a grenade and he's got a trident. Yeah, maybe it's Brick through the brick. Leo is especially worried because Jason is his best friend, and it just made me think, does Jason think Leo's his best friend? It was a little bit, I'm your best friend, you're my very good friend from Severance. But Leo's especially worried because Jason is his best friend, and he doesn't know what he would do without him, which is very sweet. Annabeth insists that Jason will be fine. She tells Frank that she'll be right back and asks him to watch Leo. Frank nods, and the narrator Leo says, quote, if it was possible for Leo to feel worse, he did. Annabeth now trusted a Roman demigod she'd known for like 3 seconds more than she trusted Leo. I feel really bad for Leo. A lot of really vulnerable moments for him. I just hope that he'll eventually be okay because he is in a really tough spot right now.
Yeah, he's done maybe the worst thing any demigods have done in these 8 books, I think.
Ooh.
I mean, like...
aside from, like, people...
Aside from just, like, full-on betrayal.
Like Luke trying to end the world. That's a little, but
like, aside from, like,
that.
Yeah. Because that's, like, big bad. You're, like, a bad guy at that point.
Of the people who are heroic and basically have been heroic the entire time.
And, like, make a mistake now and then.
Yeah, I guess worst mistake. It's pretty rough, especially just because of whatever the ripple effects are, like, as we will get into in these chapters.
Probably won't be any.
Yeah, like maybe...
They'll just gotta fly back in a week and be like, hey, everything good now?
Hey, my bad.
You guys rebuild? Only thing today.
It's pretty good. Once Annabeth leaves, Leo and Frank just stare at each other. Narrator Leo says, quote, the big dude looked pretty odd in his bedsheet toga with his gray pullover hoodie and jeans and a bow and quiver from the ship's armory slung over his shoulder. Leo remembered the time that he had met the Hunters of Artemis, a bunch of cute, lithe girls in silvery clothes, all armed with bows. He imagined Frank frolicking along with them. The idea was so ridiculous it almost made him feel better. So at least something is helping Leo calm down a little. Frank checks that Leo's name isn't Sammy because of the whole Leo's face looking just like Sammy's face from the picture situation. Leo asks what kind of question is that, and Frank says nothing. And then he asks about the firing on the camp. He posits that Octavian could still be behind it, perhaps magically, because he didn't want the Romans to get along with the Greeks. I do like how Frank is no subtlety in this moment, trying to like suss out the Sammy thing. Just like, your name's not Sammy, is it? it's like I don't know, maybe like across the like once you're flying, like maybe a few hours later and everything's kind of like chill. You're just kind of like, Sammy, and see if like anyone responds. Like maybe like try something. Just very like suspect that he's just like, hey, I know someone named Sammy. Are you him? This, I think, is the most Midwest Northeasterner divide that we could come up with. Because I think everyone's acting very rationally. Yeah. And that they're just very much like, hey, did you do this on purpose? Is your name Sammy, our friend from New Orleans? Like, I love this. And now I understand when I moved to Texas, people thought I was very abrasive. The first thing I feel like is fine. The second one feels like, I don't know, I feel like you could suss it out a little, do a little investigation. But Frank isn't the investigating type, really. Right. I just love the not wasting time. Yeah. Like they're alone and he's just like, hey, you're not Sammy, right? Also, what? Nothing. I will say on Frank's behalf that like they do need to just kind of figure out what's going on with Leo. So maybe now is the time for just figuring stuff out. No time to be Midwest nice. We got to get straight to it. Leo wants to believe that Octavian could be behind it, but he doesn't really feel like that's the case. He is grateful that Frank, who I think it's funny, narrator Leo keeps calling him this kid as if they are not the same age. He's grateful that this kid doesn't hate him. Deep down, Leo knows it's not Octavian. Part of him knew it was wrong when he did it, but he did do it despite asking himself, what the heck am I doing while doing it? But he feels like there's just some sort of force that he can't control that made him do it. Leo wonders if the stress of building the warship for the past few months finally broke him. Leo thinks that he cannot focus on that. He must be productive, and he needs to keep his hands busy. I get this as well. Like, whenever I am getting, like, weird in my thoughts and, you know, maybe I said something awkward and I'm trying not to think about it or whatever. You know what I love to do in that moment? Laundry. Oh, so good. Throw on a podcast, do some laundry. Don't think about your thoughts. No. Do you think the fact that Leo has some fire powers and that he got cold
Do you think there's anything there? I don't. I
Ooh.
think that's a bit of a stretch, even from my own side of things.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if
I
you
think
thought
I
about that.
would have, if not for Annabeth
Annabeth
feeling
feeling
this
it,
cold
yeah.
thing
Yeah.
earlier in the book.
Yeah.
But I am intrigued of who could be behind it, just because a cold feeling feels like it would be a new person we haven't met, just because I think it's leaning more towards my theory that like this is happening because of a Gia minion, like
Yeah.
some sort of either another giant or a monster or someone like that, just because in the past Gia hasn't immediately been the cold feeling. Like
Yeah.
she's got all the earth stuff. That makes sense. She's the Titan or the whatever of earth. But the cold feeling makes me feel like there's someone else that we are going to meet later down.
Yeah.
And that's who's behind
Yeah,
it.
I don't think we know who this is yet.
I don't think so yet.
I mean, we definitely
for
don't know.
context, Eric has not read past what I've read past. So we are in the same boat
Same-
if we've only
same
read
place.
through chapter 6 of book 3. Leo tells Frank that he should talk to Festus and get a damage report. Frank asks who's Festus. Leo says that it's his friend and then adds that his name also isn't Sammy in case he was wondering, which is pretty good.
I love that.
Very
That
good.
might be my favorite moment of the chapter.
I think it is. It's pretty good. Just be like, yeah, that's Festus. Also, he's not like, I would love if Leo kept it up. Every time they meet someone else, Leo just keeps going, is your name Sammy? Leo says he will introduce the two of them, and thankfully, Festus is not severely damaged. When they approach, the head of the mast of the ship turns to face Frank, and he jumps and screams, "It's alive!" Leo, as the narrator, lets us know that he would have laughed if he wasn't so down in the dumps. Leo explains to Frank that Festus used to be an entire big old metal dragon until he had an accident. Frank says that Leo must have a lot of accidents, and Leo responds, well, some of us can't turn into dragons, so we have to build our own.
There is another melancholy moment there where like Leo's like, I thought to myself, you should have seen him when he was a full-size dragon.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even say the words because I'm like, oh, Leo.
He's having it rough right now.
He is. He
He's
really
having it
is.
rough. Leo explains that he revived Festus as the masthead, and now he's the ship's main interface. Leo asks Festus how things are looking. Festus makes these creaky metallic noises, but Leo can now translate them because I guess he speaks metal now.
He speaks creak and squeak.
Yep, that's what they say. Narrator Leo, quote, other demigods could understand Latin and Greek. Leo could speak creak and squeak.
Love that.
Speak, creak, and squeak. Sounds like a fun little tongue twister. Leo translates that things could be worse, but the hull is compromised in many places, and the oars need to be repaired before they can hit top speed again. Says that they will need repair materials such as celestial bronze, tar, and lime. And Frank, just like me, was thinking, lime? So he asks lime. And Leo begins to explain that calcium carbonate is used in cement and other things. But he stops and says that the point is that the ship won't go very far unless they can fix it. Festus makes a noise that Leo doesn't recognize, and it sounds like Azul. And then he realizes, oh, he is asking about Hazel. Frank asks if she's okay. Leo says she's okay. Festus says that she is following below on horseback, so she is keeping up atop Arion underneath, following the ship. Frank says that they should land. Leo can tell that she is his girlfriend by his level of concern, so he asks if they're dating, and Frank confirms. Leo says that he doesn't sound so sure, and then Frank replies, yes, definitely, I'm sure, which is either Frank being really awkward, which he has a history of being, or Frank's not sure. I feel like Frank is sure. I think this is just him being weird.
I don't know. I feel like in this moment, he's probably just unsure of a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually probably a bit of half and half.
Right. Also, if they did start dating, it would literally have been last night.
Yeah.
This is tomorrow, I guess around noon, I would guess.
Yeah.
So best case scenario for the relationship is 12 hours long. So
yeah.
I feel like it's okay if he a little bit had to take a beat to be like, oh, what? Like, there was even a while where after marrying Kelly, I had to drop fiance, which I had just learned to say after accidentally saying girlfriend. Like, it's, I get it. When things are new, it's different. Leo relents, but he says that the problem is that they can only sustain one landing. They can't get back into the air the way that the ship is currently. So when they stop, it has to be a situation where they can completely fix the ship when it's down. Frank asks where they will get celestial bronze, guessing that you can't just go to Home Depot and get it. I don't know. There's so many aisles in Home Depot.
Who knows what's down there?
Who knows? And then there's like that whole back section. Like that feels like a Greek mythology thing that could happen. You just like keep going, and all of a sudden it's like, what's down this back door? It could be the celestial bronze aisle.
Sometimes you're just back there and you're like, I don't feel like I should be allowed here just picking out lumber. I can't see a single customer or employee. I'm just like picking up large pieces of wood and walking around.
There's just a whole row of nails and screws, and you can just like do whatever. Yeah.
You'd think also like, I don't know, Home Depot's probably owned by some minor god or something.
Oh, who would it be? I mean, I know their mascot is Homer, but it's not like that Homer, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
Leo asks Festus to do a scan. Frank asks if there's anything that Festus can't do. This is when Leo thinks, oh, you should have seen him when he had a full body.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't say it because it's too painful to say out loud. Percy and Annabeth then come above deck. They're not looking like they're in great spirits. Leo asks about Jason. Annabeth says that he's resting, and Piper's keeping an eye on him, so he should be okay. Percy gives Leo a stern look and relays that Annabeth said that Leo did, in fact, fire the ballista. Leo admits it, and he apologizes, saying that he had no idea how it happened. And I think Leo has been handling this really well. Like, every time someone brings this up, he's like, look, I'm really sorry. I have no idea what happened, but I'm really sorry. And I didn't really appreciate Percy's response. He growls, sorry? And it's like, what else is Leo supposed to say? Like, he does not know what happened. It's a weird thing. They live in a magical world where they fight minotaurs in tighty whities and giant monsters, and they're on a flying ship. And Leo saying, oh, yeah, I got possessed by some other being and I'm not sure what happened and it took over my body. That's a step too far for Percy? I feel like he's being unreasonable here. Your dad's Poseidon. What are you talking about?
Also, I think it is Percy in the last book that literally thinks, like, I've seen too much stuff to believe anything is a coincidence.
Correct. That was
I think
in the last book.
right? So it's like, so you should know. You literally, like, again, that was once again 12 hours ago because it was towards the end of the book.
That's true. The end of book 2 was yesterday.
Yeah. So I think it was around there, or there was when they were in Alaska, which was only a day or two previously.
Right.
And he was literally like, there's no such thing as coincidences. There's God. It's like, why can't you believe this? This ain't that unbelievable. It sucks, but like, it probably makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's the rare L from Percy. Maybe it is just Percy being upset that he went through the whole thing of the Son of Neptune. His whole thing was that if he did his end of the task, the two camps would be together. Jason did his part of the equation. Percy did his part of the equation. He wants to go home. If there was harmony between the two sides, he could go home and have his old life back. And now Leo's put it into danger. So maybe it's more of just like anger in the moment. I would love,
I think so,
if Percy apologizes to Leo later, the next time they're alone. But we'll just have to see. But I think Leo's handling this as best as one could if they got possessed by some magical force and made them fire missiles onto their potential friends. Annabeth puts a hand on Percy's chest to calm him down and says that they'll figure that out later. For now, they must regroup and formulate a plan. She asks Leo what is the ship's status, and Leo is shaking in his boots, feeling the wrath of Percy, but he explains the damage report and the supplies that they need. Festus starts creaking, and Leo is delighted because Festus has let them know that they can get everything that they need in one place. Leo suggests to Frank that he turn into a bird and fly down and tell Hazel to meet them in the Great Salt Lake in Utah, another place where I've been. Yay! Woo-hoo. I don't know too much about it, but I have been to it, and they have like a cool little like park nature preserve-y type thing called Antelope Island where we went, and we went on some hikes, and you have to be careful because there are bison, I think, either bison or buffalo. I never know the difference. I think bison, and you have to be pretty particular about it, ensuring that, you know, you don't get into their like territorial thing because they will charge at you. And they are big.
Yeah.
They're real big. But when I went, it was super pretty. We went out like into the Salt Lake and stuff. It was all, you know, like squishy mud and stuff when the waters are seeded. And it needs more water because I've heard that if it runs out of water, it could be really bad with all the stuff that's in there. Yay, climate change. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So when they arrive, they do so with a not so smooth landing. Everyone went below and strapped themselves in to keep safe. But Coach Hedge decided that he's going to go to the frontmost rail and yell, yeah, bring it on, Lake, as they are going down.
I think that's my favorite Hedge moment.
Yeah?
It rules.
Do you like Hedge? I love Hedge.
It's a line-by-line situation with me and Hedge, because I'm like, man, this guy is got weird bad vibes at times, and also he rules a lot at times, and I can never make up my mind. This definitely swung him really far towards I like this guy.
Yeah. I think the reason I like him and some of these characters that can be a little annoying so much is that as an improviser, I really respect like a bit character that just sticks to the bit. And he's just someone where like, yep, in every scene, he is definitively Coach Hedge. And I respect Rick being able to write it of like, he is always Coach Hedge. He is one of the most consistent characters around. And this is great. I can only imagine he like asked Festus to play Leonard Skinner as this, went down.
Yeah.
Maybe playing Call Me the Breeze or something as they're going through the wind. Before the landing, Leo warns Hedge that this will hurt, and Hedge replies that he was born for hurt. And then they crash into the lake. He gets soaked in water like they went on a log flume ride at a theme park, and it lists to one side. A lot of usage of the word listing. I've never heard it ever until I read these chapters.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Is it a boat-specific thing, or can other things list when they
I think other things can list.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting some nods. So yeah, I had never heard of listing before, aside from, I guess, like making a list, but a lot of play of listing. So it lists to one side, and then it kind of settles back and everything is okay. The oars then start working as normal oars, and they just kind of are rowing through the lake like they're a normal boat and not a flying boat.
For some reason, I didn't consider the fact that the flying boat could just be a boat. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. Mm-hmm. It's got the magical oars. Why not?
I think the only reason I realized it is when they first kept talking about the boat when Leo was going to build it. I thought that they were going to like be on the water all the way to Greece, because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. They're going to Greece. They can get there by water. But I didn't recognize that they were going to have to go to California before they went to Greece, and it would have been a little tricky if they were like, I don't know, going down the Mississippi and everything. Yeah.
Why didn't Hera just have the Romans come to Camp Half-Blood? Would have been connecting flight all the way in Rome. Terrible to get to Greece.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, but then I don't know if it makes 5 full books, and I'm sure Rick's contract with Disney Hyperion was for 5 full books.
Probably,
so they were like, how do we stretch it out? What if they go to California and then they go to Greece? Yeah, a little backtracky. So they are going on the lake. Leo instructs Festus to bring them to the south shore. Hedge is hyped. He wants to do the crash landing again. Leo says maybe, but he asks if Hedge can stay above deck so that he can keep watch in case, quote, the lake decides to attack us or something. And Hedge says he's on the case. Leo rings the all-clear bell, heads for the stairs, but then he hears and then is greeted by Hazel atop Arion, which Leo is very surprised by because they are in the middle of a lake. So he asks how that is possible. Hazel explains that Arion can run on water, and Leo can tell that Hazel is studying his face strangely, like she's looking for something in it. He is tempted to ask if they've met before, but he's sure that they haven't, so he doesn't. As narrator Leo says, quote, he would remember a pretty girl paying such close attention to him. That didn't happen a lot. Interesting that Leo thinks she's cute. A wrinkle emerges. But then Leo has to think to himself, she's Frank's girlfriend. She's Frank's girlfriend, which is very interesting. Because now he's got some, like, proper attraction to her. Ooh. But that is, I feel like, a classic teenage thought, like to be the teenager and like you meet someone's girlfriend, you're like, oh wow, she's cute. Oh no, but I just met her. It's Rob's girlfriend. Oh no, it's Rob's girlfriend. Oh, like I get the emotions that he's going through here.
Yeah, you gotta just be cool.
Be cool.
Figure out if you're Sammy or not.
Yeah, that was I was gonna say. That's the thing that I'm wondering. Like, is this whole like, is he Sammy because Sammy was her ex-boyfriend? Basically, like, is that factoring into it, or is this just like a completely separate thing of just like Leo, who is not Sammy? Leo just thinks Hazel is cute, and we can stop at that. I don't know.
I'm now worried that at some point he's going to say, "But I could be Sammy." I hope I don't. I hope I didn't curse that into existence 13 years after the fact.
That would not be good. Leo hopes that Frank comes up soon because Hazel's starting to weird him out with how much she's staring at him. Hedge approaches Arion with his bat, asks Leo if this counts as an invasion. Leo yells no, then tells Hazel to come with him as he can lead them to the stable that he built below deck. But Hazel says that Arion is more of a free spirit, but it's all good because he can go down and graze around the lake until they are ready to move on. Hazel says she would love a tour of the ship, and the narrator Leo says, quote, "The Argo II was designed like an ancient trireme, only twice as big. The first deck had one central corridor with crew cabins on either side. On a normal trireme, most of the space would have been taken up with 3 rows of benches for a few hundred sweaty guys to do manual labor, but Leo's oars were automated and retractable, so they took up very little room inside the hull. The ship's power came from the engine room on the second and lowest deck, which also housed sickbay, storage, and the stables." Pretty cool. I love getting the description, especially because I don't really know much about boats. So for boats to be described helps me reading this book. Leo leads her down the hall, and as narrator Leo, he lets us know that there are 8 cabins, 7 for the 7 and 1 for Coach Hedge. Leo is still baffled that Chiron thinks Coach Hedge is a good, adult, responsible chaperone to be on this mission. And then he says that there's a large mess hall and lounge at the stern, which is where Leo is taking Hazel. They pass Jason's room, where Piper is holding his hand and icing his forehead while he's asleep, and she gives Leo the shh hand motion, but not in an angry way. And Leo's very happy that she is not upset with him because he feels awful about what he did, and he wouldn't want Piper to also be hating on him because they're close friends. They reach the mess hall, and they see Annabeth, Percy, and Frank sitting and looking downtrodden. And narrator Leo then describes it, quote, "The cupboard was lined with magic cups and plates from Camp Half-Blood, which would fill up with whatever food or drink you wanted on command. There was also a magical ice chest with canned drinks, perfect for picnics ashore. The chairs were cushy recliners with 1,000-finger massage, built-in headphones, and sword and drink holders for all your demigod kicking back needs. There were no windows, but the walls were enchanted to show real-time footage from Camp Half-Blood, the beach, the forest, the strawberry fields, although now Leo was wondering if this made people homesick rather than happy." Here's my question. This was a major plot point in the second book, that the crew who was supposed to help at the fight of the Feast of Fortuna, they were late because it took too long to finish the ship. Does it feel like there might be a few extra things in the mess hall that we don't need?
Yeah.
These things are very cool. These feel like if you didn't do these, they could have shown up half a day earlier, contributed to the fight, and then all of this bad stuff maybe wouldn't have happened. Leo, what are you doing, man? Get your priorities together.
I mean, Hedge literally talks about a satellite dish, which means he had to like call DirecTV, get that set up, go through all of that.
Yeah.
Be like transfer it from Mr. D's cabin over to the boat. I mean, that's like a week-long process.
They got to figure out what package they're going to buy, figure out which channels they want. Like, it's a ridiculous situation. They could have avoided this if you don't have all of these extra bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Come on, Leo, priorities. And you know what? I don't think it's Leo's fault. If they don't put someone, I've said this in a previous episode, that Leo needs like a project manager. He needs
100%.
a project coordinator. Someone has to keep him in check and say, no. Here's your task list. Don't do that. Save that for later. He needs someone calling the shots. So if they really let Leo be the top dog with the construction plan, it's kind of on them. You know he's going to do this, if not given direction to make sure the ship is ready and you can maybe build this stuff later.
It's probably Hedge. It's probably Hedge just being like, yeah, satellite dish, cool windows, the recliner chairs.
Infinite snacks.
I mean, the recliner chairs that massage you definitely feels like something Hedge would demand on his boat.
Yeah. Sword holder does feel like Hedge as well. Yeah. So, Percy is staring longingly at the images of Camp Half-Blood when he asks, what's the plan? Frank says that they should try to figure out the prophecy from the Sibylline books. Leo asks the what? And Frank explains. And Leo now understands why they didn't tell the Romans about this, because they didn't want Octavian and the Romans to get their hands on Ella. And Percy explains that Ella was a captive when they found her, and they didn't want that to happen again for her, so that's why they kept it under wraps. Percy states that he instructed Tyson to take Ella to Camp Half-Blood, where they'll be safe. And I hope that's really far. Like, just be like, oh yeah, they have to go across the entire country of America. They'll be fine.
Do you think they use the labyrinth?
Oh.
Wouldn't that be like, the labyrinth was destroyed. I read those books 2 years ago in a 3-week period because the last time I was on tour, Mike was on the 5th book already.
Yep.
So I read through all 5 books very quickly. So I have forgotten a few details.
You're good.
Well, then it's all rumbles. So just like run over it.
It feels like a more treacherous voyage than just like, yeah, they'll be okay. But I don't know. Tyson
But they're
seems to find a way.
monsters. So will anyone even bother them? Are they technically monsters?
Oh, maybe.
Can't they just like walk and the mist will just be like, oh, they're over there?
I guess since they're not actually just like Tyson is like technically a demigod, but not in the sense of like our heroes getting attacked by monsters. So yeah, maybe they can just have like a nice leisurely.
They just got on a cross country Amtrak.
They just get on the Amtrak. They get a sleeper car. They stop for particular monuments. They take pictures with the world's largest ball of yarn. They go to the Field of Dreams field and have a catch. Yeah, they do all this stuff. They go by the big longer burger wicker basket thing that I think is not too far from here that I was really tempted to drive by, but we've added extra driving and I didn't want to make you do extra driving because I felt bad.
I've driven more in the last 6 days than I drove in the last 6 years.
Leo doubts that any of them are safe, given that the Romans and Gia are hungry for their blood, but he doesn't say that out loud. Annabeth says that she'll think about the prophecy herself, but as a group, they should fix the ship. She asks Leo about supplies. He says that the easiest thing to acquire of their necessary supplies is tar. He says that they can get that just at a roofing supply store in town, maybe Home Depot. The other items are celestial bronze and lime, which Festus says can be found at an island on the lake to the west. And I didn't remember there being islands on the Great Salted Lake, but I did Google, and there are 2, according to Google Maps. Hazel says that they must act quickly because if she knows Octavian, he is searching for them with auguries and will send a strike force. And I don't necessarily want our heroes to have to face against the strike force, but I do kind of want to see who's in the strike force. Like, it does sound fun to be like, ooh, we're the Roman strike force. And then Percy kicks their ass single-handedly.
Yeah.
But who makes the cut for the strike force is my question.
I have no idea. Not Octavian.
Not Octavian. No. I mean, he'd probably show up and be one of those guys that's like, get him! And then doesn't actually do any of the fighting.
100%.
Stands in the back with his arms crossed.
He's like the Weasley, general who's actually not going to do anything helpful.
Of course. Leo can feel everyone staring at him, so he reiterates that he has no idea what happened. Annabeth stops him and says that they've been talking, and they decided that it couldn't have been Leo. She explains that she also felt the cold feeling that he felt, and she thinks that it's some sort of magic, whether it be from Octavian or Gia or one of Gia's minions. Frank asks how they can be sure this won't happen again, and Leo feels his fingertips light up. He insists that he is fine, but he suggests that they could use the buddy system so that no one's alone. He says that they can leave Piper and Coach Hedge on board with Jason. One team can go to get tar, and the other team can go to get bronze and lime. And I wrote in my notes, oh no, not splitting up. And then the next line is Percy going, split up? That sounds like a really bad idea. Hazel says splitting up will be quicker, and then says, isn't there a reason why quests are usually limited to 3 demigods? And I was like, isn't that just a vessel for Rick to have 3 characters interacting in a book? Annabeth thinks that it's smart, though, because if they have 7 demigods out in the world, not in the ship, it could be dangerous. The ship has certain magical barriers on it that kind of keep their demigod smell away from monsters. So having no more than 3 of them out in the non-ship world makes sense. This feels like just kind of like a convenient, like, yeah, this'll work. And you know what? It's a book. I'll take it.
What do you think that the mist has disguised the Argo II as? Because it is a giant boat.
Yeah.
Utah.
I would think. Oh, yeah, now that it's landed. I was going to say in the sky, probably.
In the sky,
airplane.
yeah, just plane, yeah.
But in the. Yeah, and it's a lake, so you can't
It's not like a
cruise
super
ship.
yacht. Yeah. It's just like, what do we think that is? Maybe because
I like the world in which it is a super yacht, and then people are like, oh, some rich jerk.
Yeah, that is funny.
Put this on an 18-wheeler, dragged it out to the lake, dropped it off in there. Oh, these rich people, grumble, grumble,
Yeah,
grumble.
maybe that's probably the closest thing that could actually.
If not that, it could be one of those big blobs. The big red, yellow, blue blob that you jump down one end and fly up the other.
Yeah. Okay.
That's big and takes up a lot of room, but it'd be too tempting to go towards it. You see that, you're like,
Yeah,
I want to go on a
true.
blob.
Yeah,
Blobs rule. Those things rip. Percy isn't thrilled about going and using the buddy system, but he tells Annabeth that he is on board for splitting up as long as Annabeth is his buddy. Hazel smiles and says that that's easy and asks Frank if he can turn into a dragon again. She compliments his previous work as a dragon and fly Percy and Annabeth into town for the tar. Frank wants to push back, and I was thinking, oh yeah, this is probably because he likes Hazel and he doesn't want to be separated. But then I realized, oh wait, Leo and Hazel being alone is weird, huh? So he asks, what about you? And she says, quote, I'll ride Arion with Leo here. Ooh, yikes. Leo can tell that she's nervous, which makes him feel even more nervous. She says they'll go for bronze and lime and everyone can meet back here by dark. Narrator Leo says, quote, Frank scowled. Obviously, he didn't like the idea of Leo going off with Hazel. For some reason, Frank's disapproval made Leo want to go. He had to prove he was trustworthy. He wasn't going to fire any random ballistae again. I think that's a normal kind of instinctual feeling from him there. Annabeth asks Leo how long it'll take to fix the ship once they have the supplies. Leo says ideally just a few hours. Annabeth says that sounds fine and says they should all move as quickly as possible, but they should still be safe. Quote, we could use some good luck. That doesn't mean we'll get it. And I'm thinking at this point, yeah, they are for sure going to have to fight off some monsters along the way. That's the end of chapter 5, which I've retitled, My Face is Studied. How have you retitled chapter 5?
I have retitled it, Sammy, anyone?
All right, let's do a little bit of chapter 6 before we break for intermission. This one is also a Leo chapter. We'll retitle it. It opens with, quote, riding Arion was the best thing that happened to Leo all day, which wasn't saying much since his day had sucked. Arion's hooves turn the lake surface into salty mist. Leo feels Arion's side while they're riding and can feel the muscles working like a well-oiled machine. Narrator Leo says, quote, for the first time, he understood why car engines were measured in horsepower. Arion was a four-legged Maserati. Maserati reference in this book.
Maserati reference, the middle manager's version of a fancy car. Sorry, any Maserati.
Yeah, I know my audience is probably filled with Maserati drivers.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're in middle management, just get a BMW or an Audi like a normal person. Maseratis are just like the less classy version of an already unclassy Lamborghini.
My knowledge of cars is not much more than what we learned by making The Last and the Curious together, which you can get at thelastandthecurio.us or on the TNO Patreon shop. But $5 you get all 13 episodes with no ads. But what's the deal with the Maserati? Like, are they just like more expensive than they ought to be? Like, is it like Teslas where they're like pretending to be a luxury car, or like they're just like not as good as the dollar amount
it's like
says?
You've got your like highest end cars, your like McLarens and your Ferraris, and then you got like your lower end high end cars that are like your
like
Lamborghinis
Porsches and stuff.
No, Porsches are solid cars.
Okay.
Maseratis are like, they're pretending to be as good as like supercars.
Like the McLarens, you
yeah,
said. Okay.
Yeah, but they are just simply not. Like the
And then
HR manager at my last job had a Maserati. It's like, and he's also the owner's son, which makes it all worse. And yeah, like it was just like, it's just like, they're just not cool cars. They're like a boring person's idea of a cool car, but they can afford them, so they buy them.
In terms of like engine quality and stuff, are they worse than Lamborghinis?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're
Okay, so
nowhere
they're-
in the actual supercar range. They're like stuff you drive around the suburbs.
Wow, okay. This is interesting.
Yeah.
But counterpoint, isn't their logo a trident?
That is true. That is true.
It's probably why it was the one that Rick picked out.
That does make sense. That does make sense. Yeah.
They even did that in the Percy Jackson movie, I'm pretty sure. Like when they go to Vegas and have you seen the movie? Don't.
If I did, it would have been like in college.
Yeah. They have the thing where they like go to a casino and it's the classic like you could win this car and it's a Maserati, I think, because of the Trident logo. Well, anyway,
it's a car you would win at a casino.
Oh, we've got it. All right. Anyway, Percy Jackson, thank you though, so much knowledge. They approach an island that is so white, Leo thinks it could be made purely out of salt and vinegar chips. No, salt. Leo is seated behind Hazel on Arion with one hand around her waist. The close contact makes him uncomfortable, but he recognizes that it's necessary so it doesn't fall off of the horse, the literal horse. This is a very much like a high school boy kind of thinking where it's like, well, I do have to hold on, but if I put two hands on her hips, that's two forward. So I must only put one on. Like, I totally get his instinct here.
Yeah.
Before they left, Percy debriefed Leo about Hazel's backstory. Percy made it sound like he was doing Leo a favor, but Leo could feel the undertones of, don't you dare hurt her. Leo finds it hard to believe that Hazel was once dead because she feels very warm and alive. Narrator Leo again has a little bit of a hubba-hubba moment when he is describing her. And it's just very interesting because of the Sammy angle. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. When Arion reaches the beach, he stomps and whinnies triumphantly, which Leo thinks has a big Coach Hedge energy to it. And I think it's fun. I wonder if there will become synergy between Arion and Coach Hedge. They do feel like they would get along, but Coach Hedge does not speak horse like Percy does. So it might be a little tricky. They dismount Arion. Arion goes off to graze. Leo makes a comment about Arion being expensive to feed, since Hazel had mentioned that he likes to eat gold. And Hazel says, nah, it's not a big deal. Gold is easy for me. And Leo goes, what? Hoping that she is not related to King Midas. And he asks, you're not related to King Midas, right? I hate that guy. Hazel then says, never mind. And I was like, man, I like when they're honest with each other.
Close.
So close. It makes Leo even more curious, but he doesn't press further because he has good instincts and he can understand when conversations might get awkward. He kneels, he scoops a handful of sand, and he says that they've checked off one box as the sand is lime. Hazel, as was I. Hazel's very confused. He explains that it is calcium carbonate, and he can tell because the granules are perfectly round. We all know this about calcium carbonate.
Of course.
Naturally, duh.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of this? If the narrator had said the granules are perfectly round, I would have been like, oh, yeah, calcium
It's
carbonate.
calcium
Yeah,
carbonate, of course. What else could it be?
Yeah, nothing in it.
Not Dippin Dots.
No. Ooh. The engineering company I used to work for did the liquid nitrogen for Dippin' Dots.
Wow.
Ice cream of the future. Or as my boss at the company called it when he said this to us on our orientation, he called it ice cream of the past.
I mean, when are we going to get there to the future? Because, it's been the ice cream of the future for a good 30 years now, and you still can't buy it anywhere.
You can only get mini melts, the offshoot ones at CVS's sometimes.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's bad. It's worse. Kelly got them once because she loves Dippin' Dots, and we were out at a convenience store. She got them. One scoop in, she was like, they're not as good. And I was like, yeah, good thing they were $8. So
it's because of inflation. It's the ice cream of the future because they knew ice cream would eventually cost $8. They're like, we're just pricing it for the future.
That's pretty good. So Leo digs his hand into the ground, ready to scoop it into a bag, and then he freezes because he recalls all the times Gia would talk to him via the ground. He hears, walk away, little hero. Without you, the ship cannot be fixed, which I thought was interesting. I don't know why Gia would say this to him, but then Hazel asks if he's okay, and Leo tells himself that that wasn't Gia, but instead Leo himself just getting in his own head, psyching himself out. And then he tells Hazel, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it actually is him, imagining what Gio would say in this moment.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's being genuine there. But it is oh, man, you gotta... I mean, it's been a rough 2 hours for him. I get it.
The thing that I think is weird about if Gia was to say this, she's saying walk away, I guess, from where they currently are. And the convincing is saying, they need you to fix the ship, but they also need the things to fix the ship. But I guess what she's saying is, you go back, let Hazel do this solo. So maybe that's what's going on there. But I just thought this was a bit strange. But it is adding to the, what's going on nature of this chapter, which continues. So he starts to scoop. Hazel helps and says that they should have brought a shovel and pail. And Leo says, oh, yeah, we could have made a sand castle. And Hazel says, a lime castle. And then they lock eyes for a beat too long.
Ooh.
Hazel begins to say that he is so much like, and Leo guesses, Sammy? And she falls backwards and asks how he knows. And Leo says, oh, I have no idea who Sammy is, but Frank asked earlier if my name was Sammy. And I had to let him know I'm not Sammy. And then Hazel goes, and your name isn't Sammy, right? And Leo just responds, no, jeez. And then Hazel asks, you don't have a twin brother, do you? Or is your family from New Orleans? And he says, no, my family's from Houston. And then he asks if Sammy was somebody that she used to know, which of course made me think of the Gotye song, which also then made me think of, for the longest time, in that song where he says, have your friend collect your records and then change your number. I didn't know he meant literal records, vinyl records. I thought he was being old and fancy and being oh, collect your records. Meant it'd be get your stuff.
At the peak of hipsterdom, you didn't think it was vinyl records?
I did not. I just thought this Gotye dude was being weird for being oh, yes, have your friends collect your records. And being yeah, that's a weird way to say, get the stuff of mine that is in a box by the front door.
Yeah.
Hazel says it's nothing, just that he looks like him. And narrator Leo says, quote, Leo could tell she was too embarrassed to say more. But if Hazel was a kid from the past, did that mean Sammy was from the 1940s? If so, how could Frank know the guy? And why would Hazel think Leo was Sammy all these decades later? So they finish filling up the bag in silence. Leo stuffs the bag into his tool belt. And as the narrator reminds us that it's a magical teleporting tool belt, like a bag of holding where it doesn't take up space or have any weight. I forgot about that, so I'm glad the narrator reminded us of that. And then Leo decides to start looking now for celestial bronze. And Hazel points and says that it is 500 yards that way. And Leo begins to ask how she knows this. And Hazel explains that precious metals are a Pluto thing. And I'm glad she explained. She had the thing before. She said gold is easy to me. She didn't really get into it. But now she has the explanation. Leo says, handy talent, lead the way, Miss Metal Detector, which is my favorite arcade game. The sun is setting, the sky is turning purple and yellow, and Leo thinks that in another world, he would enjoy a walk on the beach with a pretty girl, but he feels more and more uneasy the farther they go. Hazel then turns inland, and Leo double checks that this is a good idea, and Hazel says that they're close, and then, narrator Leo says, quote, just over the dunes, they saw the woman. And we'll take a break for intermission. Ooh. Now, if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, we're going to take our break for our mid-roll break, the Marks of Athena. So let's all say goodbye to the podcast people. Goodbye, people! Hello, Patreon, and welcome to the Marks of Athena, not Shubio edition, not auxiliary Shubio edition, but our front closet Shubio edition. The baby's asleep. That's where the Shubio is. Kelly's asleep. That's where the auxiliary Shubio is. So I'm in our closet by our front door, just talking about the podcast, using my laptop microphone. Parenting. So let's talk about some stuff with the podcast. So a few weeks back, we took a week off. And what I do when we take a week off is I donate money to a charity based on the number of downloads that we got since the last time we donated to charity. So according to my notes, the last time we donated to charity was on May 11th. And since then, we got 330,000 downloads of the Newest Olympian, meaning that I will be donating $330 to the San Antonio Food Bank, because the San Antonio Food Bank serves all of Southwest Texas, and Southwest Texas is where there was that really bad flooding earlier in July. And according to the San Antonio Food Bank, the flooding still has left a lot of people in urgent need. So they are doing their best to provide relief, but they, on their site, said that they could use even more support. So I thought it would be good to support them. If you want to learn more about this food bank and what they're doing, you can go to safoodbank.org. But yeah, that's our charity for the most recent break that we took. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mike. I'm taking over for the mid-roll break because regular mid-roll Mike probably woke up the baby because that closet is too close to the baby's room. So I've moved into the bathroom, which is farther away from the baby's room. And my somber tones are probably better for not waking up the baby. So now it's the mid-roll break ASMR bathroom Mike version. Parenting. Okay, so here are the other updates with the podcast. So the first update, in case you missed it, I have a new podcast out. It's called Professional Talkers, and I'm co-creating it with Sequoia Simone, who you know and love from the Newest Olympian. It is a comedic advice podcast where we are teaching people how to avoid awkward conversations. Our first episode is up. You can listen to it wherever. You can watch it on YouTube and Spotify. And the first episode covers how to navigate small talk at a party where the only person that you know there is the host. My favorite piece of feedback that I've gotten from the show is, oh my goodness, the advice is actually good, ? I thought that this was just going to be a funny, silly show. No, our advice is actually good. We're good at this. So if you have trouble with conversations, or you just want to hear us give some advice with a whole bunch of jokes thrown in as well, check out Professional Talkers wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to everyone who came to our New York City podcast premiere picnic. That was very fun and cool. I had a wonderful time. And we are going to be releasing new episodes every other Monday. Our next episode is a relationship/dating one, where we're going to bring in an expert to give advice. So it's not just us. Experts come in from time to time as well. So we're at Pro Talk Pod on social media, and we're Professional Talkers wherever you're listening to this podcast. Now, speaking of Sequoia will be at our Providence, Rhode Island live show, which is coming up in September, but we have other live shows as well. So we've got some shows in August. I will be in St. Louis, Missouri on August 14th. I'll be in Kansas City, Missouri on August 18th. And then in between, I'll be at Enchanticon. Happy to report that a second TNO show has been added. So the Newest Olympian will not only be on Sunday, but now also on Saturday. So you can come and see me there. Definitely doing those things Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if I'm scheduled for anything Friday, but I bet
I'll get put on for something Friday. Not really sure at this point. But for September, we've got the Providence show. It's going to be on September 13th. And then the Pittsburgh show is going to be on September 28th. I believe we're going to turn the Providence show into just the newest Olympian, because I want that to be the show where we do the ending big reveal for the ending-ish chapters of the Mark of Athena. I was planning to do that in Pittsburgh, but the Pittsburgh venue said that I can't stream the show, which stinks. Instead, I would like to do that in Providence with Sequoia, and then the show in Pittsburgh with Eric Schneider will be over the next book, which is a wild thing to think about. And then the guests have also been determined for those August shows. Johnny will be the guest in St. Louis. St. Louis's own Johnny Frolickstein will be the guest. And then Michael Hollis will be the guest in Kansas City, Missouri. So if you want to get tickets to all the shows, you can go to thenewestolympian.com/live. Except Enchantagon, those are at enchantagon.com. Now, of course, I want to take some time to thank the people supporting the show on Patreon. Going to give a shout out to the folks who've joined most recently. So shout out to our newest Super God tier patron, Brayson for Life. Shout out to our newest God tier patron, Joanna Murato. And also someone that I missed weeks ago, Eliz the Haha Best, joined weeks ago. And I just missed doing it in the mid-roll break. So my apologies. And then shout out to our newest Demigod tier patron, Sam Steinberg. And shout out to Hyacinth Porter, who upgraded their pledge. And huge shout out to all the folks who have upgraded or adjusted to yearly pledges. As I'm going to continue to say in each episode, we're doing a thing where I'm going to run the numbers on September 1st, and whoever has a yearly pledge going on will get a set of bookmarks, where you get the bookmarks that the design is going to be the retitlings that I do. It's going to be for the first 2 books. So make sure, if you are in one of the tiers that have already asked you for your shipping address, you update your shipping address on Patreon, because that's what we're going to be using. And then the only people that don't have that, or the Demigod tier patrons, will send out a mass message and email to get your shipping information. Now, if you're all caught up on the Newest Olympian and you're looking for some new podcasts, you're in luck. I make a whole bunch of them. And if you like the vibes between me and Eric on this episode, you should check out The Last and the Curious. We talked about it a little bit, but let me break it down even further. It is a Fast and Furious podcast that covers my first journey through the movies. I'd never seen them before, and then Eric revisiting them for the umpteenth time, because he's a big fan. We did a limited series, so it's 1 episode per movie, and then a couple other bonus episodes. You can get the whole thing ad-free instantly for just $5. And the episodes feature us breaking down the plot, talking about our favorite moments, laughing about the absurd things that happen. And then we do things where we look into the behind the scenes info, where we dive deep into what went into production, and we look at the critics' reviews and all this sort of stuff. So we kind of go through the movies, talk about our favorite parts, look into how the reception was and some extra info, break it all down, and then we do a big ranking episode at the end. It was a really fun time. We had a really fun time making it. We would watch a movie together and then immediately get on the microphone to talk about it. And the vibes were great making it. And now the vibes that it's out are great. People have said really nice things about it. And I'm appreciative to everyone who gave us positive feedback. So if you want to get it, you can get access at thelastandthecurio.us, or you can go to the TNO Patreon shop at thenewslimit.com/Patreon and download it there. Again, just $5. You get access to everything ad-free. Pretty sweet. Now, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors to make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me, and others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in the Dominican Republic, don't be surprised if you get an ad in Spanish. Once those ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode of The Newest Olympian.
Alrighty, I hope you all had a good intermission. I missed you all so dearly. Let's conclude chapter 6 and then do some fun Q&A, because I did check some of your emails and you all sent in very good questions. So where we last left our heroes, they just saw the woman
On the dunes.
the dunes. Dude, is it a worm? Lisa Nalgaib.
That was good.
Thank you.
It's good.
Kelly and I made fun of that so much. So many, for like the whole week after seeing Dune 2, we would, just like the guy does, just out of nowhere go like, Lisa Nakaib. It's great. So anyway, Percy Jackson, so this woman is sitting on a boulder in the middle of a grassy field. There's a black and chrome motorcycle parked near her, but the wheels have a chunk cut out so that they look like Pac-Man. Leo thinks there's no way that they could be drivable in that way. And I was thinking, Leo, she's probably a god of sorts, so I feel like she will be able to drive this.
You just crash landed your boat ship.
Your flying boat. And you're like, these wheels have holes in them. No way. She has curly black hair, a wiry frame, black leather biker pants, high leather boots, and a blood red leather jacket. The ground around her is covered in what Leo thinks are broken shells. She's bent over, pulling out new ones from a sack and then breaking them open. Leo wonders if she's shucking oysters. And when you learn what it actually is, I think this is a really funny, like, oh yeah, I guess it kind of does look like that. Then he thinks that it's odd because he thinks that the Great Salt Lake shouldn't have oysters. He's nervous to approach, given his history of bad run-ins with strange ladies, calling back to Tia Kaida and Gia and Keone from the first book in the sequel series. But Hazel marches onward, so he has to follow. As they get closer, Leo does not like what he sees. The woman has a whip attached to her belt. The jacket has the design of an apple tree with skeletal birds perched in it, and the oysters are fortune cookies. I have no idea what's going on. I was wondering, because this kind of felt like the Ares vibe from the Percy Jackson series, I was wondering, oh, maybe this is Bologna? Like this is their version of like war god leather motorcycle stuff, but it turns out to be different. Did you have any initial thoughts when this strange woman showed up?
Yeah, I just wondered what was going on with Rick.
Oh, with Rick? Like,
I was just like, whoa, like the whip, the leather, like the whole thing. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Hey, oh,
this is not like anything else.
Young
really,
adult books now.
Yeah.
She keeps grabbing the cookies and breaking them and reading the fortunes, and she tosses most of them aside. Some of them cause her to mutter in disgust, and narrator Leo says, quote, she would swipe her finger over the slip of paper like she was smudging it, then magically reseal the cookie and toss it into a nearby basket. Leo asks what she's doing before he can stop himself. He's just like instinctually like, what are you doing? She looks up. And when she does, Leo is gobsmacked. And he goes, Aunt Rosa? And I wrote, how does this keep happening? Does he not have one normal relative? His dad's Hephaestus. Tia Kaida, she's Hera. This other aunt is some evil demon biker lady. What is going on? Leo thinks that this doesn't make any sense, but this woman does look exactly like his Aunt Rosa. She's got the same nose, the same mole, the same mouth, the same eyes, but the outfit makes no sense. And as far as he knows, Aunt Rosa still lives in Houston, so why would she be here in Salt Lake, which is like a 10-plus hour drive away? What's fascinating is that she asks Leo, oh, is this what you see? And then asks Hazel what she sees. So it feels like a Millennium situation, which we saw in the Demigod Files, where she appears differently to each person. They see something different when they see them. Hazel says that she looks like Mrs. Lear, her third grade teacher, whom she despised. And they don't clarify, but I would assume that it was Mrs. Lear wearing the same outfit. Otherwise, why would Leo's Aunt Rosa have this outfit? Like, it feels like it is always someone you despise wearing cool biker outfit.
Okay, yeah,
unless there's something about Leo, since he likes cars and stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, it's the person Leo wants revenge against. And also, Leo likes cars, so she's wearing a motorcycle outfit.
Yeah. I assumed that she was wearing like a school teacher outfit or something, but I think your thing makes more sense.
Especially because it has the design, the leather outfit has the tree with the skeletal birds. I'll have to ask Dr. Moya, but that feels like a particular to who we learn this person is to be thing, because it wasn't like, oh yeah, you know, her favorite book was The Giving Tree or something. Like there's no like Leo Aunt Rosa specific reason for that design. The woman laughs and asks why Hazel hates Mrs. Lear, and Hazel answers that Mrs. Lear taped Hazel's hand to her desk for misbehaving. She would also call her mom a witch, and she blamed Hazel for everything. I know Hazel went to school back in the 1940s and stuff, but like being taped, your hand taped to a desk feels like an especially, I don't know, it just feels cruel.
I mean, it might have been like a left-handy thing. Because they used to like not let kids be left-handed.
Wow, wild. In third grade, 9 years old, bleh.
I don't know.
Now, Hazel thinks that this doesn't make any sense because Mrs. Lear should for sure be dead by now since Hazel's alive 70 years later. So Hazel asks, who really are you? And the woman says that Leo knows and then asks Leo, what are your feelings on Aunt Rosa? And calls him Mijo. And narrator Leo says, Mijo, in italics. That's what Leo's mom had always called him. After his mom died, Rosa had rejected Leo. She'd called him a devil child. She had blamed him for the fire that had killed her sister. Rosa had turned his family against him and left him, a scrawny orphaned 8-year-old, at the mercy of social services. Leo had bounced around from foster home to foster home until he finally found a home at Camp Half-Blood. Leo didn't hate many people, but after all these years, Aunt Rosa's face made him boil with resentment. So pretty clear that this person is a villain. I didn't guess it of who it turns out to be, but I do think it's very interesting who it does turn out to be.
Yeah.
Leo thinks to himself that the way he feels about Aunt Rosa is that he wants to get even. He wants revenge. And the narrator Leo says, quote, his eyes drifted to the motorcycle with the Pac-Man wheels. Where had he seen something like that before? Cabin 16 back at Camp Half-Blood, the symbol above their door was a broken wheel. He thinks for a bit and then he realizes, she must be Nemesis, the goddess of revenge. And I think that's very interesting because we obviously knew Ethan Nakamura. His whole thing in the first 5 books was that the minor gods need more respect and love and stuff. And he was a child of Nemesis. So for her to finally show up, I think is quite interesting.
I also like that the way she convinces people to presumably take revenge is by like filling them with rage just at the sight of her.
Yeah.
Like it's a good way to kind of like, she doesn't like make you do it, but like by her just being around and you hating the visage of her, you then enact revenge in some other situation probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think just by seeing the person you would want revenge against, like it would just put you in that mindset.
Oh, yeah.
So I totally get it. She opens another cookie, reads it, and says that she hates fortunes that make people think that they've read some prophecy that will soon make them rich. It was something that said something like, you will unexpectedly come across a huge sum of money or something like that. She blames it on, quote, that tramp Taiki? Taichi? I don't know.
Taiki is how they say it in the audiobook,
Let's go
which
with-
if you listen to the last episode, Mike disagrees with quite a bit.
That audiobook, you'll hear it. The podcast people have heard it. You'll hear it soon. They get wild with it. They get super wild with it.
I've been listening to the audiobook. I think the name of the horse is Orion.
Yeah, that's what they call Arion. They call him Orion.
Yeah.
Which is like, all right, that's there's some wild ones. There's some wild ones in there. But regardless, definitely got to ask Dr. Moya what's up with Taiki. And Nemesis continues, quote, always dispensing good luck to people who don't deserve it. I feel like Nemesis talking smack about Taiki, but I would love it if Taiki could go talk with the rest of the 7 because we could really use some good luck right now.
Yeah.
I think that sounds lovely. Sounds like a great problem to have.
Yeah. Maybe they deserve good luck, though. And she thinks
she's specifically the god of good luck for people who don't deserve good luck. What a niche minor god. Leo checks to make sure that this woman doesn't think that fortune cookie fortunes are actual prophecies, since they are just mass produced in some fortune cookie plant. And Nemesis
I also believe that.
Nemesis replies, don't try to excuse it. She says that it's classic Taiki to get people's hopes up. She vows to counter her. She changes the fortune to say you will die painfully when you most expect it.
I will say the audiobook narrator nails that line. It's just really good.
What in your best impression, like what kind of voice or, emphasis?
What is the exact line again?
The exact line is you will die painfully when you most expect it.
I mean, it's basically that, but he like almost slant rhymes it with what it originally says. So it just like, it flows really well in the narration more than anything.
That's fun. Hazel says that that's horrible, that she would let someone read that fortune and think that it would actually come true. Nemesis asks Hazel if she really has never wished horrible things upon Mrs. Near, and Hazel gives a classic non-answer where she just goes, well, it doesn't mean I would want them to come true. So she definitely has. That made me think of, there was a time when I want to say I was in like 4th grade or something. And I, growing up in New Jersey, was super intense Yankee fan. And I, of course, hated the Boston Red Sox. And I remember one time really disliking Nomar Garciaparra in particular. And I remember like grumbling once under my breath, like, no, I wish he would like just get hurt. And my dad was like, you should never wish that upon anyone. Like, we hate the Red Sox, but we don't want to wish anyone gets hurt. And then Nomar Garciaparra got injured the next day. And I felt really bad. I felt really bad, and I never wished injury upon anyone ever again. He's doing fine. He's great. Nomar's doing okay. He's still fixing his batting gloves to this day.
It's wild that your dad went out of the way to break his ankle just to prove that point to you.
You gotta learn. Yeah. So Nemesis goes, bah, which is my favorite thing that people in this book say when they're upset at other people.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. She explains that Taiki would be Fortuna for Hazel because Hazel is Roman. That is her Roman counterpart. And Nemesis continues that Fortuna/Tyche is probably in a horrible way right now, just like the other gods. But she, Nemesis, is okay because she is called Nemesis in both Greek and Roman mythology. She says that she does not change as revenge is universal, or as the Romans got too lazy to change the name. Leo asks, what are you talking about? And what are you doing here? And I was also curious, so I'm glad that he asked, because the whole in a bad way comment made me kind of quiver my eyebrows a little. Nemesis opens another cookie, gets mad that lucky numbers are there because those aren't even a proper fortune. And then she explains to Leo that the gods are a mess right now because they always are when a civil war is burbling up between the Romans and the Greeks. Nemesis says the Olympians are torn between their two natures, called on by both sides. They become quite schizophrenic, I'm afraid, splitting headaches, disorientation. And Leo protests to say that they are not at war, and Hazel reminds him, you kind of started a war yesterday. Or no, sorry, this morning. Leo insists that it wasn't on purpose, and Hazel goes, yeah, I know that, and we know that, but the Romans don't know that, and they're going to be pursuing us in retaliation. Nemesis says that Hazel is right, war is coming, and Gia has seen to it, quote, with your help. So that kind of feels like Gia is behind the possession more so than if it was someone like Octavian. I think it's more likely that it is Gia or one of Gia's monsters.
Yeah.
Nemesis then asks them who they think the gods are blaming, and Leo goes, I bet it's me. And Nemesis goes, well, don't you have a high opinion of yourself? You're just a pawn on the chessboard, Leo Valdez. And I wanted to be like, yeah, but pawns can become queens if they get to the other side of the board. Or a knight if it's advantageous for you to become a knight and instead put it in check for under very particular circumstances. But she continues on saying that she was referring to, quote, the player who set this ridiculous quest in motion, bringing the Greeks and Romans together. The gods blame Hera, or Juno if you prefer. The queen of the heavens has fled Olympus to escape the wrath of her family. Don't expect any more help from your patron. And I think this is very interesting. We've already had the interesting situation where Hera, who we definitely did not like in the first 5 books, it was putting the plan into motion into this book where we at least kind of had to deal with her. But now we might have to support her while the Olympians don't like her. Just making us have to deal with her more and more and potentially like her more and more, I think is very interesting for Rick to throw in there.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this series is just narratively kind of impressive. Like, I've already talked about, like, the introduction of the Roman stuff in previous episodes, but, like, I think, like, having that balance of, like, and now they're torn because they have to be both places at the same time kind of stuff. All of it that's kind of intertwining with everything is really interesting. And I think we're going to see like the 7 have some internal conflict too. I think that's pretty likely to happen at some point.
Oh, I've seen the cover of this book.
Yeah.
I do not have high hopes for things being all harmonious the whole time. Leo has mixed feelings about Hera. He recalls that she has meddled in his past, but she's been on his side recently. So he asks Nemesis, why are you here? And she says to offer help. Leo's cautious. Nemesis says that she loves to bring down the proud and powerful. And she says that none are more deserving than Gia and the giants. And I'm wondering, hey, Nemesis, are you busy right now? I feel like there's some proud and powerful people that could be taken down a peg. Just saying. She says that there is always a cost, and she says that she can help, but there is this cost as true success always requires sacrifice. Hazel thinks that she's already sacrificed enough, and Leo, as the narrator, thinks that he 1,000% relates. He's had to sacrifice a lot as well, but instead of lashing out, he controls himself and tells Nemesis that he just wants celestial bronze right now. That's all he's after. And Nemesis says, oh yeah, that's easy. It's just over the rise, and they can find it, quote, with the sweethearts. I don't know who the sweethearts are. I don't think they're going to be very sweet. I feel like they're going to be evil monsters that we have to fight against, but that is just my intuition.
Seems right.
Yeah. Hazel asks, who are those? And Nemesis replies, you'll see, in chapter 7. Perhaps they will teach you a lesson, Hazel-esque. Most heroes cannot escape their nature, even when given a second chance at life. And speaking of your brother Nico, you don't have much time. Let's see, it's June 25th. Yes, after today, 6 more days. Then he dies, along with the entire city of Rome. And we love a deadline in a Percy Jackson book. Ah, so good. I love having a format that we follow. And here we are again with another You Have Less Than a Week. Perfect. No notes. But specifically with what she was saying about the sweethearts, it feels like it's going to have to be one of those things you overcome, like the sirens who sing you this song and then lure you in and then eat you. Like, it feels like one of those things they will have to mentally or emotionally overcome as opposed to just like slashing them with swords. But we'll just have to see. Hazel is stunned, but Nemesis moves on to Leo. She says that his hardships are yet to come. And I was like, yet to come? Have you not read the last couple of chapters? Ugh. She says, quote, "You will always be the outsider, the seventh wheel." And I was like, the seventh wheel just kind of sounds funny. You know, yes, there's 7 of them, third wheel. But then you helped me realize when we were talking about this earlier that he really is the 7th wheel, because you were just like, oh yeah, what's all the couples? And I was like, oh my God, he is the 7th wheel, because everyone else is coupled off. Piper and Jason, and Frank and Hazel, and Annabeth and Percy, and then Leo. Like, he's just there. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to have a budding relationship with Coach Hedge. Look, Coach Hedge is also there. Leo does not seem very interested in Coach Hedge.
And Coach Hedge only seems interested in rock and roll
and murder. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, they don't seem like each other's type, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. Who's to say? So he can't. Festus.
Come on.
He's a detached metalhead dragon. He's his friend. They're just friends. So she says that he will not find a place among them, and soon he will face a problem that he cannot solve, but she can help for a price. Leo's hand engulfs in flames because he's angry. He doesn't even try to do so, it just happens. He then extinguishes them by putting them in his pockets, and he says that he likes to solve his own problems. And Nemesis is ready to drop it, but then Leo goes, "What is the prize? Just curious." I'm glad he asked. Nemesis says, quote, "One of my children recently traded an eye for the ability to make a real difference in the world." And I was like, oh yeah, that's Ethan Nakamura, our good friend who's still falling through the sky to this day. Leo asks if that's what she wants, and she says another sacrifice that's just as painful as losing an eye would do. She hands him an intact fortune cookie and says that if he needs an answer, he should break this and it will solve his problem. Leo asks what problem, and she says, oh, you'll know. And Leo denies. He says, no, I'm okay. But then his hand just kind of takes it against his will and puts it in his pocket. Very interesting. She says that few gods can aid them at this point. Most are incapacitated and their confusion will only increase. Nemesis says, quote, "One thing might bring unity to Olympus again, an old wrong finally avenged." That would be sweet indeed. The scales finally balanced, but it will not happen unless you accept my help. So now I'm kind of going back and forth. Like, obviously, I don't want Leo to have to make some sort of sacrifice. This feels like genie rules where it's going to be way worse than you anticipate and something bad could happen. But balancing the scales and trying to bring unity to Olympus does sound like something that I'm interested in. So I think it's a very good job of, making Leo and then us, the reader, feel, okay, like it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get hungry. At some point, he's going to want that cookie. That's the problem. The problem just gonna be that he's real part.
So funny.
He's just a little hangry.
It's so funny.
Like, I got that fortune cookie.
If they stop for Chinese food somewhere, and they get it to go, and he accidentally, or like it falls out of his pocket, and then someone, at any point, either they're getting Chinese food or it just falls out of his pocket, and someone's like, "Ooh, a snack!" and opens it, and the Nemesis is like, "Give me your index finger." Yeah,
It does feel like the kind of thing that would happen to Leo at this point.
just down on his luck.
He's not having a good time.
It also could even be something happens, he gets knocked over, it's in his pocket, he falls, it breaks, because he fell on his side, and the Nemesis is like, "I've been summoned!" No, I just fell. Hazel guesses that she won't explain what she means, or why Nico has 6 days to live, or why Rome is going to be destroyed. And we're only in chapter 6. Come on. I'm not going to learn this yet. You think Chiron would allow that? No! Nemesis laughs and says that it's all intertwined, and she tells Leo to think it over, but encourages them to go on. Quote, "You should visit the reflecting pool before the light fades. My poor cursed boy gets quite ... agitated when the darkness comes." So we have sweethearts to deal with. There's a reflecting pool. There is a cursed boy. It feels very interesting. Leo doesn't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that. Nemesis leaves on the motorcycle. It drives just fine. All the cookies and slips are gone except for one. One slip. Hazel reads it aloud. Quote, "You will see yourself reflected and you will have reason to despair." And Leo says, "Fantastic. Let's go see what that means." And that's the end of chapter 6, which I have retitled A Feast of Fortunes. Because they have a feast of fortune cookies. Ooh. What have you? Oh, thank you. What have you retitled it?
I've named it a Fortuna Cookie.
Good. Very, very good. Well, that is the end of this episode for now. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, so let's say goodbye to the podcast people before we break and then come back for Q&A. Goodbye, podcast people.
Hey, it's ASMR Mike from the future just saying we're going to take another quick little break here for some more ads because it's a longer episode, and then we'll get into the Q&A, which was really fun, really good questions in this Q&A.
All Alrighty. This first one is from Jude. Subject line, Springfield, Ohio on top with a bunch of P's. Hi, we're here from Springfield. Yeah, that one. And we're sorry you had to experience Ohio. It's been great. I got no complaints about Ohio. We're wondering if you could match some Gen Alpha and Gen Z brain rot words with characters and/or monsters. Mostly because I'm 15 and I love it when you feel old. Thank you for existing and I love your podcast, man. I can't wait for another season of anything you do. Here's the brain rot. Okay, I know some of these, but only a little. Skibbity is just kind of like a nonsense word, right? Just like fill it in for like anything.
Oh, Mike.
What?
Oh, no.
Okay, well then what is it? You tell me. You're on TikTok.
See,
I've never
there's these
downloaded
guys
it.
in a toilet,
Uh-huh.
and they're fighting, I don't know. Can someone say whether they're fighting in space? The Skibbity toilet? Cameras.
Okay.
There's a guy in a toilet. He's from a video game thing. It's a whole thing. Who's the closest to Skibbity toilet?
I am not the person
Poseidon.
to answer.
'Cause
Okay,
he's
great.
water. Comes right out of there.
Yeah, there's Rizzler. That's the Rizzler, right? Like the kid? Or there's a different Rizzler than the Rizzler? Okay, what is the non-kid Rizzler? Like just like charisma and stuff? Who's got the most charisma?
I thought there was a specific guy.
There is.
I heard he was hanging out with the costume guys.
Yes,
I don't know what
there
that
is,
means.
I don't like that. Just like Riz, I would go with Piper just because of all the charm speak. That feels like the
that
most
makes sense.
charismatic. Sigma, is that like a Sigma Chad?
That's Jason.
Jason?
For
Okay,
sure.
yeah. Mhm. Here's what's interesting. Ohio? That's a brain rot word now?
Yeah.
How so?
I think.
Okay, wait. Okay, sorry. We need one person. Where's Jude? Okay. What is Ohio? Cursed, weird, and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cursed. I mean, that Hazel feels kind of cursed.
Yeah, Hazel.
Leo
I was
clearly
gonna
feels
say Leo.
very
Leo's
cursed.
feels the
Yeah.
most cursed,
Okay.
yeah.
Then there is la 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 lava chicken.
I don't know what that is.
Jude, what is la 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 lava chicken? Oh, from the Minecraft movie.
Oh,
Okay.
that's new.
I know this
Yeah.
is the whole thing, and you guys are you're like, let's destroy movie theaters and make people clean it up. I thought the kids are all right. Stop doing this. I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know. Then
have
there's
no idea.
Gyat, G-Y-A-T-T. Again, what do we got? What is it? It's a butt. Oh.
This is so enlightening.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't know what any of this means either.
So is it like who's got the nicest butt? Is what we're trying to who's got the nicest
Nemesis.
Nemesis? Oh, because of the leather.
Are you kidding me?
I would maybe, if not Nemesis, you could say to either Artemis or Percy, and didn't Annabeth, all three of them like had to hold up the world. Your squat max is very
That is,
high
yeah,
if you can do that. So you're
that's
doing.
key.
And then Phantom tax, but F-A-N-U-M tax?
It's like taking a portion of someone's food.
Taking a portion of someone's food. Oh, okay, yeah. So if you're like taking like a little food,
Yeah.
oh, that feels like. I mean, that's Grover, right? Like he's
Yeah,
always,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Tyson,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They're always hungry. And then I know the last one is another Minecraft thing, the chicken jockey, which has started this like terrible thing. I love Jack Black. He's fantastic. So I will just say Coach Hedge because I feel like he has like some of the chaotic, like high energy Jack Black energy. All right, let's move on before my brain rots. This one is from Bria. Hello, I drove from Cincinnati to be here. Thanks for coming to Ohio. I'm not from there, and I find it gross. I know I'm really selling it, but if you ever go there, just try and review Skyline Chili and the three-way pasta, chili, and cheese, and / oraconi, hot dog, chili, and cheese. First question before the real question. I need your take on the Severance finale. I don't want to spoil it in case people haven't seen it. I loved it. I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed the second season.
Same.
Congrats to Kelly and you on Baby Shuby. If our main characters had baby books, what would be the theme or the style, and what would be their real first word? So, if our 7 are baby folk and they have baby books, what are they going to like? I'm well more versed in baby books. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember something from your
I
childhood.
know. Dragons love tacos.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I mean, that sounds right up Leo's alley. For
Yeah. Oh
Dragons
yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Tacos.
Dragons. Yeah.
I mean, or Frank's. Could be either of them. I mean, no, he loves dragons because of Festus. So no, Leo's for sure Dragons Love Tacos,
Yeah.
which is a good one.
I also know the little black scientist lady girl. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I
She's
know.
Got,
Yes.
She's got like a Netflix show, I think.
Yeah, I know. I don't know her name either.
Ada
Sorry.
Twist.
Ava
Yeah,
Twist,
yeah.
scientist. Anita Twist? Ada Twist,
yeah.
scientist. That feels up Annabeth's alley.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, that feels pretty solid.
And those are the 2 children's books I know. So
Look, we've got those.
all you, Mike.
Jason would probably like Goodnight Moon. It's the most classic American baby book. Frank would be Brown Bear, What Do You See? Because it's all the different animals. I could see Piper liking one of the just like more relaxing kind of chill books because she tries to keep things low key. So I don't know, maybe like, what is like a chill that is not? There's a lot of like cutesy ones like I Love You More and More or I'll hug. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Percy would want some sort of like aquatic based one. Oh, pout pout fish. I could see him loving pout pout fish. Pout pout fish is really good. It's about like this like grumpy looking fish that blub blub blub, but then by the end finds love and then is happier. So that feels like that tracks for Percy. There's a lot of good options. There's some fun stuff. And then Hazel, what's the oldest book? Like what's the first children's book? I don't know, maybe something from like
Cat in Hat.
Yeah, I was
a
gonna say something like
Dr.
Dr. Seuss or something. Yeah. Velveteen Rabbit, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one's from Anna. Subject line, go to Buckeye Donuts. Okay. Are they going to be open? Oh, we'll have to see. If the add minutes to Cleveland drive is not too much, we might have to investigate. For science. Hi, Mike. I know you hate college basketball, so you probably didn't see the March Madness commercials this year, but there was a set of commercials with Capital One where Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were all in them. Surprisingly, not Shaq. He was doing an ad for Home Depot instead. That sounds about right. My question is, if the BJOHO characters had to team up with an NBA player for an advertisement, who would they team up with, and what would they advertise? Thanks for all you do. Love the pod. Ooh, this is good. I mean, I feel like Tyson's got to advertise peanut butter, and he's got to team up with someone that's the most likely to like peanut butter.
I mean, that feels like Shaq.
That does feel like Shaq.
I was thinking Shaq as well.
I could see Shaq doing that for sure. Percy would need to like team up with another trash talker, so I could see him teaming up with like Draymond Green or Diana Taurasi and doing like some sort of like cell phone commercial about getting like unlimited minutes because it's like trash talking and talking. I could see that being a thing. Annabeth would have to team up with a coach, like maybe like Greg Popovich or someone, very like planning heavy and something. Jason, who's the most American basketball player? I guess Michael Jordan. Yeah, I could see him like teaming up with MJ and maybe they just do, I don't know, for like Academy Sports and Outdoors. I don't know if you get those over here. Like our Walmart or something. And then let's see. Piper, I could see teaming up with like a very good like announcer broadcaster since of like the charm speak. So maybe her and like Mike Breen do some sort of ad together for maybe like a restaurant where they serve her fancy avocado toast and stuff. Yeah, a lot of good options. But really, if you want to see good NBA commercials, the San Antonio Spurs do the best commercials for the local Texas grocery store, HEB. And they're like genuinely very funny commercials. Like if you want a YouTube deep dive, just search like San Antonio Spurs HEB commercials. They're genuinely incredibly well made.
And then search for the video that we watched the other night, which was basketball shots that kept having more and more airtime. Me and Mike watched it. It's 20 minutes long, and it's the funniest thing
There's a
ever to
video.
watch.
There's a dude on YouTube called, I think, Kosh Report, who does these videos where it's like something basketball, but they get increasingly more something. And some of them are subjective, where it's like funny moments, but they get increasingly more hilarious. Other ones are just like objective, where it's like players hanging on the rim, but they hang on for longer. And then this one was basketball shots, but the ball stays in the air longer. And it's one of those like you start the video and it's 12 minutes long. And the first one is like really long. And you're like, we've got 12 minutes to go.
And like they start at like 1.2 seconds of airtime. And you're like, how much longer can a ball be in the air? A lot longer. A lot longer.
It's really fun. And then like
it's extremely
as
funny.
it goes, you get like half court shots. And then of course the half court shots become like game winners because that's when people are most likely to take them. It's a very compelling video. Yeah. All right. This one's from Marissa. Hi, Mike. Huge fan of the pod. Thanks for finally coming to Southern Ohio. I have been here before.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, happy. But finally coming, how dare you? Where were you in 2001 when I was here?
2021.
Sorry. I was not here in 2001. I was in New Jersey. My question is, now that we have our official crew of the Argo II plus Arion, and also plus Coach Hedge, I guess, if you could do trios of each in the alignment chart of TTRPGs, who would fit into each group? So this is like the lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good kind of thing. I'll attach a picture here below. Hope you're enjoying a definitely Midwest Ohio. All right, so lawful good. Let's try to go like thing by thing. Lawful good feels... That could be Jason because he's pretty like straightforward. Like he doesn't seem to have like do anything like he feels like good.
Yeah.
Neutral good, maybe Annabeth. Like I don't know if she's not lawful, but I feel like sometimes I don't know she gets like emotional and hates Hera and stuff. I don't really know. Chaotic good, Percy Jackson. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but then we have the neutrals and the evils.
Yeah, this is going to be tricky.
I guess chaotic neutral could be Leo, given where he's currently at, where like he is certainly in between the two sides. True neutral and lawful neutral, I feel like all of our heroes got to be in good. I feel weird putting anyone in the 7 not in good.
Hazel is kind of neutral.
Oh, because she like raised Alcyonius. Okay,
yeah.
so we could put her in lawful neutral, where it's like she's
Okay,
doing
yeah.
good. She even when she raised Alcyonius, she didn't know. True neutral. We could.
Lawful evil is Octavius.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I would. True neutral could be Coach Hedge because I feel like he's either like doing stuff to save the day or like doing stuff to put them in danger, and he like
Yeah.
just completely balances out. Chaotic evil and neutral evil. I mean, maybe neutral evil is just like Gia because she's like
Yeah.
straightforward, like I'm taking over the world, and that you know what to
I am
expect
the
of me.
world.
Yeah. And then chaotic evil.
I don't know who we've seen from the series that would really be chaotic.
Yeah,
Evil.
So far, I don't know that we have anyone that's chaotic evil. I
Yeah.
feel like they are all like going through.
It's also hard to write like a kid's villain that's chaotic evil. Because
Yeah.
chaotic evil is just like doing really bad stuff for the lulz.
Yeah, hasn't really shown up yet. Okay, this one is from Grace, and the subject line is Columbus Show. At least Dayton isn't named Columbus. Hi, Mike. I'm really excited you came back to Ohio. See, I started listening to your podcast. No disrespect to the previous question. I'm just joking. I started listening to your podcast right after your last Ohio live show, so I just missed it. So close. My question is, I'm glad I could come back. My question is, how do you avoid spoilers from listeners? And if you have one, what is the wildest PJO spoiler you've accidentally gotten? So the key thing is like really avoiding the spoilers is just like, I don't spend a lot of time on like PJO general like internet. So like I'm not like browsing the Percy Jackson subreddit. For even a lot of my friends in the Percy Jackson space, like I have them muted on social media, like all the podcasts and stuff, like just because what if they tweet something about the new book? So I like have everyone muted there. It's really for TNO, like people, the audience, like you all are just really good about like not spoiling me or like protecting it. I've gotten a couple of times where like people have like quote tweeted something I've tweeted. Like I think Becky quote tweeted something I did once, and then Mark Ashira quote tweeted something I did, and like people will like text me or message me like, "Yo, don't check your Twitter, for this notification." So like people have saved me from stuff. So I think it's a lot of like the community being on top of it. I've had a couple of times where people like spoiled something, but I'm thankfully usually like way up in front of the podcast, so like it's okay. But the wildest one is there was someone when I mentioned, and this is like a very low stakes one, when I mentioned in like the early episodes of book 1 when we first meet Hades, and I was trying to guess like of who would be fun to have cast as Hades. I was like, I think Stanley Tucci would be a really interesting Hades, because I feel like the Hades in the book is more of like the talking evil, and he's like kind of likable but kind of evil, and I feel like Tucci can do that. And then someone DM me and they're like, oh, it's so funny that you said Stanley Tucci would make a good Hades. He turns out to be Mr. D in the second movie. And I was like, what do you gain by telling me this? Like, why would you do this? Wouldn't it be so much funnier for when I get to the movie to absolutely not know that and then just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. So like a very low stakes one. But at that, like, it was just like, why would you tell me this? Like, I don't know anything. I don't want to know anything. So that's like the wildest one, because I just like, what possessed this person to do this? But alas. Anyway, this one is from Naomi. Says, hi, Mike. My name is Naomi. I also took Latin in high school. Good job. I hope you're enjoying the Midwest. I have 2 questions. 1, what has been your favorite part of the Midwest tour so far? Genuinely, it's being on the tour with you and Johnny has been an absolute delight.
But let's be specific. It was when we went to the Field of Dreams Field in Iowa. Though I was like, yeah, like they were very excited to go, and I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. It was a blast. We were just 3 dudes playing catch in a field. They've got unlimited gloves and baseballs to just have. It's delightful.
It was so fun. But like seriously, having you guys on tour makes it fun, because like it's a lot of work, especially when it's like show after show after show, and I'm reading and taking notes for stuff in between shows, and it can be really stressful. But these dudes are helping me out like behind the scenes, and then it's also fun just to like hang with you guys after. Like it makes it more enjoyable, it makes it feel less just like work. So it's been a really fun time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's been a blast.
Number 2, how do you think the HO books compare to the original 5 so far? Are you enjoying them more? Are they what you expected? Thank you so much for the fun show so far. Best, Naomi. So I really enjoy them. I don't know if I am going to like say that they're better or worse. I think they're just kind of like different. It's harder for me to stop reading ahead with these than the first 5. I feel like the chapters end more cliffhangery. So it's really hard for me to stop as I do before reading the next chapters. I kind of feel the same way that I do with them about like Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 1. Like probably like objectively as books, these are probably like better books, but they cannot exist without the first 5 that came. So I feel like it's just like a general appreciation. And I'm trying to view it more of like, this is book 8 as opposed to like, this is book 3 of the second set of 5. They've definitely been different from what I expected in terms of how it's been going and where they've been going, and all the big stuff, like international stuff is going to happen. So that's been very different and very fun. I really enjoyed them. What about you?
I would say and I don't mean this as an insult, but I think the first 5 books are definitely more straightforward. They're about the Greek gods. And I think as soon as this series started, I was like, oh, he's taken some big swings with the plot devices and the character development in ways that I think he was safer with in the first ones.
Yeah.
So I think I'm enjoying these a bit more, but I also really enjoyed the first 5.
Yeah. All right. This one's from Lydia. Lydia says, "Hi, Mike. I'm a school counselor here in Columbus, and there's a protest at the Ohio State House to defend public education. Cool. As an educator who is going to attend, which piece of merch would be most appropriate to wear to the event? I guess the I Took Latin in High School notebook and just hold it. You're like, keep Latin in high schools." Follow up: if each member of the 7 and Coach Hedge were to attend a protest, what would it be for? Loving the show, even though it's past my bedtime. Lydia. So, they're attending a protest. I feel like Grover's going to protest for, or he's not the 7, but he would protest for like Save the Forests.
Yeah.
Percy feels like Save the Oceans.
Yeah.
Annabeth feels like she would protest for education or women's rights or either of those fields.
Hazel is anti-fracking.
Yeah. Oh,
She's like, keep it all down in the ground.
Yeah.
That's for me.
That's good. That's very good. I could see Leo maybe for, like, he could protest potentially for, like, workers' rights just because he's probably political. Like, being in a garage, I'm sure he has, like, experience with people, like, being underpaid for challenging and sometimes risky labor. Yeah. Man. And then Frank maybe animal rights because he can change into all these different animals and stuff. And I think, Ed, who are we forgetting? Jason? I don't want to say what's the most American protest. It depends how you defend America. Civil rights, okay, that's good. Let's just keep it to that. That should be the most American protest. Yeah.
They're all going to the big anti-fascism one.
Oh, yeah,
together,
definitely. Yeah, good. Well, anyway, perfect. Okay, this one is from Becca. My name's not Sammy, but I came with a Sammy. Did you get to do anything fun around town while you've been in Columbus? If so, where did you go / what did you do? Did you make it to Schmidt's for the giant cream puffs? I did not. Lots of love from a longtime listener and first-time live shower, Becca. So we only had enough time to drive to Columbus and then prep for the show, but I was able to hang out with some of the extended Schubert family in the green room. Where are you guys at? Did they headed out? Oh, they sucked. No. It was fun. I don't have first cousins, so I don't know what my dad's cousin means, but we got to hang out back in the green room. Second cousin, is it? But is that not? First cousin once removed. That feels like, okay, you sounded very confident.
No, first cousin once removed is your cousin's kid.
Oh, okay, look, we don't have time. There's 3 minutes left before it's 10 o'clock. Anyway, I hung out with them, and it was very nice. They brought old photos of, like, my dad and other family members as young folk. It was cool. That was very fun. So that's all I did in Columbus, but that was delightful. Maybe we'll hit up this donut shop on the way home. Yeah. But that's been good. All right, let's try to do a couple more before we get out of here, because we do have to drive home to Cleveland. All right, the subject line, wait, it's all Ohio? Always has been. From Megan. Hi, Mike. Excited to have you here in the Buckeye State, which is definitely part of the Midwest. For the Q&A, what D&D class would you assign to each of the 7? Oh, okay. We have answered that. The PS, though, is, did you stay in the Glass Igloo in Finland when you saw the Northern Lights? I was just there in February. Yes, we did do that. It was super cool. But I think we did the class for each of the 7. Maybe, like, I don't know if I've done it for the new 3. So just the new 3. What D&D class would you put for Percy, Frank, and Hazel?
Hazel is an artificer.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Percy is some type of mage with a subclass that makes sense with water.
Okay.
And Frank is
what's the whatever Halston is, where you can turn into a bunch of different
druid.
Yeah,
he's a druid. He's a druid. Yeah.
Beautiful. Great.
Druid.
All right, this one is from Matthew, aka Ginger Spurs Boy. Hey, from Horse Patron supporting. So I recently saw a life hack where you can use centrifugal force to get the last of the ketchup bottle out. It totally works. So which life hack do you think each of the 7 and Coach Hedge would find the most useful? Oh, life hacks.
Someone's doing something to get, like, extra double meat at Chipotle.
Oh,
But who?
That feels like a Leo move. I used to do that, where you do the thing where you ask to get, like, half chicken, half steak, because then they basically just give you a full thing of each. Yeah. Or you do what I do, like, you ask for black beans, and then you go, oh, sorry, can I get pinto beans too? And then they put them in, and they go, oh, and you add the fajita veggies. Like, if you do the after, like, you wait for them to finish the scoop, and then you say, that's my key. Also, if you don't get meat in it, you can get free guacamole, or at least that was the case when I would sometimes go vegetarian in college. I don't know if they stopped doing that. Other life hacks.
I feel like I don't have a specific life hack, but I feel like there's a lot of like laundry life hacks. I feel for some reason Annabeth would like really want to optimize her laundry.
Totally. That feels right. I could see Leo having like some of the cooking ones that like save you time and stuff. Like, isn't there one where you can cut cherry tomatoes if you like put them in between plates and then like run a knife between them? Yeah, I could see something like that when he's like making toppings for his tacos. So he's like, oh yeah, this makes it go faster. And then Hazel would probably have something about like how to fix your bicycle that has the one big wheel and the one short wheel. Stuff like that. Okay, this one is from Kate. Hi, Mike. So excited to be in my first, but hopefully not last live show. I couldn't think of a question, but I did want to call back to a previous live show you did in the first set of books. It inspired a tattoo that I've got recently. You were asked if you were ever to get a tattoo based on the books you mentioned getting wings for Hermes wing sandals. So I 100% added it to my Greek mythology themed tattoo collection. Oh, very cool. All right. That wasn't a question, though, so we have to try to end on a question. Yes. Okay. This has photographs. Ohio is definitely part of the Midwest, and our aunt worked with Kelly in New York City. Whoa. Hi, Mike and Eric. Woohoo! Also from Cleveland, but live here now. I'm a longtime Potterless and TNO listener and Patreon, but this is my first live show. I'm here with my sister, and our aunt Emma used to work with Kelly at Redacted Architecture Firm in New York City. That's fun. It's the other one she used to work for. They're not actually called Redacted Architecture Firm. I briefly met Kelly the summer of 2019 when I visited my aunt at work, and I remember my aunt pointing out Kelly's name on the office pinball leaderboard. Yes, Kelly used to play that pinball machine all the time. That rips. It was, she's got a photo of it. Yeah, Fireball. It's a great pinball machine. There's Kelly. She wrote her name is Beckmania. Her score was 149,690. Good for third place. Yay! Wow, Kelly's going to be hype as hell. This is great. She's going to be so excited.
This is deep lore.
This is deep Kelly lore. Oh my gosh. This is fantastic. Okay. Well, our question for you is, what type of old school arcade game do you think, that's great. Each of the squad would dominate in. Would pinball be anyone's game of choice? Love the pod and the show, Tori and Ellie. This is fantastic. What a way to end it. Okay. Old school arcade game. I feel like Annabeth would be mad good at Miss Pac-Man because she would just be like, finally, a woman. And she would do very well in that regard. Are there any aquatic-based ones that Percy would be good in, like a water-based arcade game?
Yeah. Someone said Frogger.
Frogger?
That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I could see Frogger.
I'm thinking Defender, Robotron 2048.
Yeah, Galaga, Tapper, NBA. I mean, look, NBA Jam counts. I mean, Percy loves hoops, so I could see Percy getting really into NBA Jam. Yeah. Pinball feels like right up Leo's alley. I feel like he would very much enjoy all the stuff going on with pinball.
I went to the Pinball Museum in Seattle.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's just a ton of pinball machines. It's fantastic, and they're all in free play. Jason. The most American arcade game. Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Super Mario, Missile Command. Ooh. Oh, no. Okay, so Percy might actually be good at one of those, like, Asteroid or Missile Command, like the Defenders one, because he was so good at that in the last book where he was just shooting all of the stuff with the water. So he could be very good at that. I feel like...
Hazel's Dig Dug.
Dig Dug, that's really good.
Right there.
Is someone good at Tetris? Like, I know it's Russian, but is someone like putting shapes together? Annabeth, it is very planning heavy, so I could see Annabeth like being very solid at that. Man, there's some solid ones. Frank
would be good at
Donkey Kong. I mean, it is the only animal one base that I could think of. All right, and then let's close it out. Coach Hedge. He would be good at the machines where it's got like the punching bag and you have to punch it and get the high score. Yeah, great.
That's good.
Whatever the most violent, Time Crisis, like the most violent games, Tekken, like all that, Street Fighter, all that kind of stuff. Yes, cool. Well, that's our show. Thank you all so much for coming out to the show. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it out to the show. Thank you. This was great. Turnout was nuts. This was super cool. I'm so glad we could finally come back and make this happen. I'm so happy with how many people showed up. So this is very cool. Give it up to Eric for being an incredible guest. And give it up to the entire team here at Woodlands Tavern. It has been super duper smooth, from Nate doing sound and from the food that we got and the point person in hospitality and the emails we had. Like, everything was super duper smooth. So give it up to everyone here at Woodlands Tavern. And, of course, give it up to Riley for running the merch table. You can still get that on the way out. Riley has said that we are low on signed TNO tour posters, so I can go back and sign them. If you if you want to get one and there's a run out, just like bring one to stage. I'll sign it. And bring a Sharpie so that I can sign it. But thank you all so much for coming to the show. I really do appreciate it. I hope to return to Columbus. I hope to do other shows in Ohio. Maybe one day I'll finally make a Cincinnati show, which I tried to make happen, but it just didn't work out. I would love to. So shout out to everyone who traveled from around that area. But until I return to Ohio to do another show, which is definitely in the Midwest, until then, I'll see you later. Thanks so much for coming out, everybody.
Hello! Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanis and Brandon Grugel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you really enjoy the show and you just can't get enough, there's a couple of different things that you can do. First, you can go to patreon.com/The Newest Olympian, and you can get access to all sorts of bonus content that I post on a very regular basis. You also can find us and get involved in the community on social media. We've got an Instagram, we've got a Bluesky, we've got a Twitter, we've got a Facebook, we've got a subreddit, we've got a Discord that's available to all patrons. If you want to support the show, you can get merch at thenewestolympian.com/merch. You can see live shows at thenewestolympian.com/live, and you can check out the aforementioned Patreon. And speaking of, I want to give a shout out to our highest tier, the Ultra God tier patrons who are helping to produce this show with their financial support. So shout out to Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida Vikstrom, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sandra Rose, Josh Sayer, Abby Ryan, Marco Redhouse, Sam Reeby, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkopf, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Persasabeth, Aiden Parziani, Grace, Ginger Spurs Boy, A Cup of Solace, Bradamus Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Natanya Page, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jacked Son, Han Haley Hingelheimer Schmidt, Catherine Sloan, Haley Mary, Jim Jam Koopy, Kit Kat Crumbs, Andrea, not Andrea, Jordan Ray, Nico's Black Vespa, and Zayden Wintergate. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, just spreading the show via word of mouth is huge. You can tell someone directly who you think would like the show. You could post about it on social media. You could leave a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using. All of these things really do help, and I really appreciate anyone who has done it in the past or will do so in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode, where we'll be joined by Eric Hamilton Schneider for the final time on this tour to break down chapters 7 and 8 of The Mark of Athena live in Cleveland, his hometown. But until then, we'll see you later. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mike. We've had so much fun together this episode. Let's do some stuff. I guess we'll do some bathroom ASMR. Here is me opening and closing our diaper pail. Smelly. Good thing there's no smell-o-vision. Here's me making the toilet paper ring kind of go around like I'm a cat. And here's me taking out our plunger and putting it back in its holder. And same with our brush. Thank you so much for listening.